Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we got a classic. I got a special treat for y'all today. Today, as it showed in the title, it's a triple threat. Y'all get 3 today. But these are some classic, rare BMWs. Thanks to my man Frank. I want to shout out to him. He's a big collector himself. And what I know about him is that he holds a lot of rare diecast collectibles in his collection. And so when he want to off some of them, I'm the first person he thinks about. So shout out to you, Frank. Thanks for the opportunity. And we're going to get to this video. But first, before we dive in, I want y'all to hit those notifications and get them turned on. So when I drop a new upload, you guys be the first to see it. Like, share, and comment. And as I said, y'all going to enjoy this episode. Now let me set y'all up on a tripod and show you what I got for you today. Alright, so here, as you can see, I got 3 classic rare BMWs, okay? Right now you see 2, but there is actually 1 in that blue box that you see in front of you. So, these right here are some rare BMWs that I got from my buddy. He was off in some of his collection, and he just happened to have some rare ones in there. I paid a pretty penny for these 3, and trust me, like, you can't find these anywhere else. Like, these are very hard to come by. He had told me a story about when he used to be out in Germany. I think he lived out there for a while, I'm not certain. But I know when he was out in Germany that he acquired these 3 as well as some other classic BMWs. And so he said he had them in his collection for quite a long time. But he said as time went by, some new stuff started coming, and he wanted to make some space. And so some of these classic BMWs that he had were some of the first to go off of his shelf in his collection. And so he reached out to me and he asked me, you know, I got some BMWs that I'm getting ready to sell off. You know, want to know if you're interested in any of them. And he sent me some pics. And among those were these 3 that I'm about to show you. And, you know, like me, I said, hell yeah, I want those. And so I was able to acquire these 3, and now they are part of my collection now. So again, shout out to Frank. Thank you for the opportunity. And now to the video. So this is a, let's take the plastic off. So for those who are familiar with BMW, know they broke BMW down into several series. You know, you got the 3 series, the 5 series, the 6 series, the 7 series, and you know, they, I believe, have an 8 series. So, you know, the lower you go down on the number, the smaller they are. But the higher the number is when they get more and more expensive. So as you know, for a long time, the 7 Series has always been the creme de la creme of BMW. They always have been the more expensive side, the bigger. They're more like the S class of BMW. Um, so you know, the 530, the 5 series would be the next one down, which would be like mid sides. Is not as expensive as the 7 series. It's a little smaller, but you get a lot of good features and a lot of good options and things like that. Then you have the 3 series, which gets a little smaller, much cheaper. You know, you don't get as much as you do with the 5 and the 7. Like I said, the lower you go, the cheaper it gets. And so you have the 8 series. The 8 series would have been like the coupes and things like that. More sporty versions. You had the 6 series, which also was more like a sporty series as well. You had a lot of sports cars under that series too. I do have, I believe, a 6 series. I will show those in another video for another time. I do have 2 twin 745s that I'm working on, and I believe I showed y'all in one of my previous videos. I do have a 745 I'm working on, and it's 2 twin 745s. They are, I believe, early 2000s 745s. So once I'm done with that, well, at least when I'm done with the twins, I can show you the twins and the 6 series that I have. But right now, the focus is on these classics right here. So let's go ahead and check out. As a matter of fact, let's put these to the side, and I'm going to let you guys glance at what I have in the box. So as you can see on the box, it says 7 series, and it is written, in German. As you can see, it is a 1/24 scale. And when my guy told me that he had this one put aside for me, I was excited, very excited. And so as you can see, it's this 750. So as you can see, there's 3 classic BMWs here. I mean, and if you'd have told me in a million years that I would have 3 classic BMWs in my collection, I would have told you that you were crazy. Okay? I would have told you were crazy. But let's do it this way. So we're going to go from the oldest, to the more recent, at least among these 3. So we're going to start with this one. This is a 1990 BMW 535i, and this is part of the 5 series, like I was saying. And like I said, these are rare. Now when you look at these pictures, there are going to be some imperfections in it, and this is how I got it from him. So I don't need nobody in the comments saying, oh, that car tore up. It's a classic. Okay? It's not perfect. But these BMWs are not around anymore, and they're very rare and hard to find. So I would rather have a classic that's a little beat up that I know myself can fix rather than not have it at all. So this is a 535, and as you can see, it has that classic BMW grille, and there's the BMW logo on the top. I believe this is like a cream white color or an eggshell white. It's got those gray tires. You see those tires are gray. They're not black. It's like the tires are gray. So that is an interesting thing that I found, that these classic BMWs, they have these gray tires on them. They don't have black tires. Now let me show you the bottom to show you how rare these are. You see that name at the top right there? It says Shabak. Shabak model. Okay? So as you can see, these are very rare right here. And you can see it says number 1610 BMW 535i, made in Germany. And then it has all the other different BMWs that they also made, Shabak made. They got them listed right here on the bottom of this BMW here. And that is very unusual, because you don't find a lot of diecast brands who would have a list of their other BMWs or other, cars of that same brand listed underneath the car that they sell. So this is very unusual for a company called Shabak. Okay, so but as you can see, that's what it is. It has the classic gray. It has the gray tires. Door does open. Let's see if we can get a closer look at the interior. Nothing to write home about. As you can see, it just has that classic BMW interior as usual. It doesn't have any vigorous details or anything like that. Like I said, it's a little beat up, but I'm not worried about it. I do plan on really revigorating this BMW and bringing it back to life. I do like the rear of this BMW. I always did like those tail lights. I always thought the BMW tail lights back in that day was so cool. I do like the tail lights. I always admired how they look. As you can see right there, it says 535i. Has the classic BMW logo. And the trunk does open. As you can see, nothing exciting or anything like that about it. You see it has the classic black trim going all the way around. The black door handles. As you can see, like I said, you can see little imperfections and things like that. But like I said, I'm not really worried about that. I'm just lucky to be one of the people to have scored something so rare, and being able to have something like this in my collection. And so, like I said, this is something that I will have an opportunity to be able to work on and make it look really nice. Make it look the way a BMW should look. And like I said, this is a classic to me. And I love the way this looks. So that is your 5 Series 535. So we're going to put that over here in the back. And let's look at the next one. Now, this one is part of a bigger series, which is the 7 Series. Now, this one is the 750 IL. Now, as you can see right there, this one also says Shabak at the bottom. Number 1620s, BMW 750iL, made in Germany. Now you can see under the 7 Series, this is the only one that they have under the 7 Series. Now you've seen that the BMW, the 5 Series had many of the 5 Series BMWs under Shabak. As you can see, the 524, the 520, the 525i, the 530, and this right here itself, the 535i and the M5. So these would be all that Shabak carry under the 5 Series brand. Now, as far as the 7 Series, you see the only one they have is the 750 IL, which is what I am carrying in my hands right now. Now, the difference between this one and the 5 Series is that this one actually has black tires. This one doesn't have gray tires like the 535. As you can see, the 535 has gray tires. This one has black tires. And that was a common thing with some of the products that was made by Shabak, that some of their BMWs, or not just BMWs in general, but some of the German cars that they made in die-cast form, some of them did have gray tires. So let's look at this 750 IL. As you can see, it also has that classic BMW stance in the front with the grille. This one has fog lights as well. So that one, the 535, no, did not have fog lights, but this one does. As you can see, this one has a black grille, where the 535 actually had a grille that was the same color as the car. Classic BMW right there. Oh, and let me mention to you as well is that this BMW here, the hood actually opens the opposite way. I forgot to show you guys this. The hood actually opens in the opposite direction, and as you can see, there is the engine. Pretty cool, right? So I'm going to leave that open. Let that sit open. And this one actually does the same thing. So let's see if we can get an opening on that. So here, I believe it might be missing a few parts as far as the engine goes, but that's cool. I still think it's a cool BMW. I like this. I really like this. I like how it looks. You know, not a really big fan of the wheels. You know, and that's kind of like what they had back in the day. Now, this one is the same as the interior on the other BMW. It's not a whole lot of, well, it really isn't any detail in it at all. Let me get you a closer look. It's a little dusty on the inside, but that's because when he sent it to me, this is how he had it. And I haven't really done anything with it yet, because I do plan on just kind of bringing it back to life. So when I do the renovations on it, it will look better than what it does now. So it's a lot going on with it, and so I just got to get it together. This one also has the black trim as well, as you can see. Now, This one also has some cool tail lights. This one also reminds me of the BMW we just looked at. As you can see right there in the corner, it says 750IL. And it does have a little license plate. It's got the BMW logo on the back. It does have trunk opening. I like that it has the temperature, I forgot what they call these lines. The damn it, it's not coming to me right now. But y'all know what these lines are for. So when it's like cold outside, you could turn your heat on, and it clears the back window. So I also loved the shape of this BMW as well. I always did like the stance of the 750 back in the day. You know, this was one of the BMWs to have, especially if you were one of those people who wanted to stand out. Like, if you wanted a BMW, like, this is what you went to go get. Like, you wanted the big boy. Like, you wanted to make a statement, and this was one of those BMWs that allowed you to be able to stand out in a crowd. And so, like I said, these BMWs are classic. And, like I said, some of them this one also has some imperfections as well. And I'm not really tripping. See, you can see right there, it's a little chipped there. But like I said, these BMWs will be refurbished. And I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait to refurbish these, because these are classic. I love these, and these should stand out and have some prestige to them, because they're classic. I don't want these looking beat up. That's kind of like the state that they're in. But like I said, I love them because of the fact that they are so rare. These are hard to find. And so I had to snatch these up. So I'm also going to leave the hood up on this one. I'll just put this one down. And we're going to put that over there. And here's the final one. Now, fortunately, this one came in a box. So this one, was under a little more TLC than the first two. So this one is a 750i. And as you can see the difference, this one is a little, 740i. But as you can see, this one is a little more modern than this 750. Because this one was in 1990. This is a 1994 model. This is a 740i. So for all intents and purposes, this right here is, out of the three, the more recent or more modern BMW. As you can see, the grille is a lot wider than the BMWs of past. So the grills started changing. If you see the grills on the BMWs now, like, they are extremely huge on the front of the Beamers now. Like, those things look like big kidneys, like kidney beans. That's why they call them the kidney grills, because, like, they are huge. Like, the grill is the one thing that stands out on the BMWs now. When you see them from the front now, like, they're ridiculously huge, and some people don't like the kidney bean grills being that big. They would rather stick to tradition and for them to be the regular sides like they've always been. Some people hate the grills on today's BMWs. But you can see that the BMW grill on this one more or less took a more rectangular stance than a square stance. So it's been elongated. The horizontally, you can see from left to right, it spreads out. I like the details in the headlights. This one also has fog lights, and you can see the German license plates on the front. Of course, this one is a nice black. And let's open up the hood. Well, this one does not have a BMW logo on the front. It looked like it did at one point, and it must have came off. At one point when he had it, it must have came off. But it's cool. So we look under the hood, and you can see the engine, which is really nice. I like what they did there. They put the classic BMW logo on the top of the engine, and you can also see it right there on the side. I do like the detail in this engine. I mean, I that looks really good. You can also see BMW right there on the other side. I like the attention to detail that they did with this under the hood, having the BMW logo on top with the BMW name. I like that. Let's take a look at the inside. Now, this one is very different from the other two we just looked at. As you can see, this one has a lot of detail. You could see on the knobs in the center console are detailed, heavily marked. You can see the wood grain going across the top of the center console there. Running across the dashboard there. You can also see that they have wood grain right there where the stick shift is. There's wood grain there. So this is your classic BMW. Now this is what BMW look like. You can see on the door panels as well, it has wood grain on the door panels. Now on these door panels, they are metal, so there is no plastic piece on the other side of these. It's just plain, it's just the door itself that they molded. So that's the difference in that one and this one here, this more modern one. I was never a big fan of those wheels right there. You could change them and make it your own, but I was never a big fan of those wheels. Not saying that I'm going to change them. I mean, they're going to stay I'm going to keep the original wheels on here. And there's nothing wrong with this one, so I don't need to renovate this one or do any changes to this one. Oh, as you can see on the back, this one also has a missing BMW logo in the center. So obviously, the BMW logo on this one is missing. I'm going to try to see if I can find some decals on eBay so that I can replace those BMW emblems. And as you can see on the back, very detailed tail lights. I love that. You can see the reverse, the turn signals, and the brake lights. Also, you can see it says 740i on the trunk lid, and the German license plate on the back. This one also has the chrome trim around the side and the chrome trim around the doors. It has a sunroof, but not the type of sunroof where you can see through the top. Sunroof is the same color as the car, so it has that same color coat on the roof. So obviously, and let's open the trunk, and there's the trunk. Nothing in the trunk, nothing spectacular about that, but it does open. And let's ride around to the driver's side. And let's check it out. So as you can see, once again, a lot of detail there. Has BMW on the steering wheel, center steering wheel. If you look up at the instrument cluster, you can see the speedometer needle and the other needle beside it. They paid attention, very good attention to detail as well. Now look at the door. You can look on the door panel there. You can see there's several buttons on the door panel to indicate different things like door locks and seat adjustments and things like that. Very, like I said, again, paying close attention to detail. And, there's the wood grain once again on this BMW. And I like this one. I'm glad I was able to get this one. Now, I got all three of these BMWs from one guy. Okay, like I said, he unloaded his entire collection and I was able to score big. So, I'm not sure what that name says. Paul. It said Paul's Model Ant. I think that says, oh no, Art. Okay, there we go. Paul's Model Art. Never heard of that. Never heard of them. I'm guessing this one is also based out of Germany, being as though the box did have German writing on it. So this got to be something that was specifically in Germany. Because you can see here it says BMW 7er 1994. BMW 7 Series 1994. 1/24 scale. So this must have been something exclusive in Germany. Paul's Model Art. That's what that says right there in cursive. You can see the tailpipes running through the bottom of this. And I like this BMW. It's very nice. I really, really like this. I'm glad I was able to score on this. Very huge score. Not just on this BMW by itself, but I think the whole collection as a whole. And like I said, I love the fact that I was able to get my hands on all three of these. And like I said, Frank, shout out to you again, man, for giving me the opportunity to be able to sit here and revel in the greatness of having three rare models in my collection. Like, it's still mind-boggling right now to this minute that I have these. And I would never thought in a million years that I would be able to say that I have three rare BMWs in my collection. So I am so thankful and so grateful that he reached out to me. Me and him have been doing business for a long time. His collection is much bigger than mine's. Like, I've got a big collection, but mine just don't pale in comparison to his. He has a very impressive collection, and he sent me pics of a lot of stuff that he has. Some of that stuff I still do dream and wish I had in my collection. But I've snatched up some really nice things from him, and I appreciate the fact that he thinks about me first. So this is my BMW collection. Now, this is not the only BMWs I have. I will be showing you some of the other ones. Now, once my twin 745s are finished, I will show you guys those. They were in rough shape. Now, I didn't get those twin 745s from my friend. Now, those I just happened to score on eBay. Somebody was selling two for the price of one. and they were two different colors, but they were banged up really bad. I mean, worse than what you saw on these two here. Now, you've seen these two here, those had like a little chip here and chip there, but the twin 745s that I got off of eBay were in worse shape than these two right here. So I definitely had to do renovations. One right now is undergoing a renovation. The other one, I already broke it down, but I have not done anything to it. One of the 745s is ready to put back together. And the other one, I have to go through the process. But these are right now my three that are at the top of the list of BMWs that I love right now, because these are probably the rarest out of the other ones that I have. I do have a couple of BMWs that I did get from my guy, the one I got these from, that I have in the collection that I will be showing you guys. Like I said, once the twins are finished, then I can show you the twins and the other BMW that I got from him, and I'll do that in another video later on down the line. But these are my three rare BMW. And guys, just let me know in the comments what you think about this triple threat classic here. You know, I'm excited that I have them in my collection. I think they are really cool. They're so rare, you know, and like I said, I'm glad my man thought of me when he wanted to off these three, you know, and I'm glad that I was the first person in mind that he thought of when he wanted to let them go. And now I have them in my collection. I'm happy to say that. You know, I'm the proud owner of three rare BMWs. Three rare ones, okay? Now, I want y'all to let me know in the comments what you think about these three BMWs. My 1990 535i, my 1990 750iL, and my 1994 740i. Let me know in the comments what you think about these three, man. And do you guys have any classic BMWs like this in your collection? Let me know in the comments. But until next time, guys, y'all stay safe, stay prayed up, stay healthy, and take care.
But I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no